This, my friends, is the Sodden Sanctuary Scythe only run. But nothing does this class justice except for the Reaper himself. Today, we're taking on Sodden Sanctuary like never before, beginning a new journey with hope and brightness, only to find our one true calling, the darkness. May the souls of those who get in my way repent for the pain they bring upon themselves. May they know fear. May they know their end. And also, scythes have a really cool attack set, so this should be a lot of fun. This is the Reaper and Betrayal only run in Sodden Sanctuary. To start this off, we need to select a dud character. Go with the Popper class and select a stone sellsword. The problem with scythes or reapers in Sodden Sanctuary is you can't get one right away. The first option is located just behind Queen of Smiles, and while one creed does sell the elegant weapon, that creed is locked under the bottom of our entire map. So technically, no, this can't be done on one character. However, if we make our way over to the Queen of Smiles and then defeat her with free holy pages and the absurdly strong double pokes this long fork has, co-op can get us our weapon of choice. Just place down a stone sellsword, and once again, it seems I kind of forgot to make my actual character first. That's 3 times in a row on this, if anyone's counting. Death shall be our title, as it shall be our mission. We select a mustachio and then change origins to the Gendiran. I usually don't mess with this at all, as it doesn't really ever come into play. Clearly seems like a must-have option this time around though. And now we select Cleric as our class with the Grasping Ring to level up a bit faster. Cleric will make sense soon enough, don't you worry. Back on our Dud character, we can summon Death and lead him down into the dark. All the way at the bottom of this stairwell and behind a lever is the Haymaker, our very first Reaper option. With that acquired, we can start Death's adventure by selecting the Devara Creed. Hold on a second, why would you start as Cleric and join the Goddess of Light when you want to become the Ender of all life? Well, I ask you, what could possibly be a better way of showing our enthusiasm for the dark arts besides forsaking the Holy Crusade initially set upon us? The answer is, there is no better way. After jumping behind the Sodden Knight, we begin collecting as many packs of salt as possible. 3 points are needed before we can actually wield this scythe, as Cleric is not meant to even touch such an item. Wander around the first 2 areas grabbing stuff, and you can get there soon enough. Poleaxes, Reapers, and Spears are all in the same category for this skill tree. But unlike the other 2 types, Reapers are able to do this. Hold up on the left joystick while using normal attacks. Now enjoy probably the coolest combo available in the game. Blacksmith gloves are a good wear for now, since this does scale summon strength. Back at the beginning, we're sure to collect the bandaged ring like on every run, and then face our first victim. Not really much to say here so far. While the combo is fun to watch, Sodden is slightly too quick for it. Reach is very solid, but you can't tell really anything from this. Been a long time since I had this much trouble here. Guess I was just underestimating him. Still got a cool finish out of that, so wasn't all that bad. His salt gets thrown into class 2 Reapers, as a much better scythe will soon present itself. Fused Metal Ring is an easy pickup for now, as we might need it depending on our armor choice. You already know I had to get our favorite Ghastly Gourd helmet. Frees up a ring slot and looks amazing. While you would typically avoid the dark sorcerers who rise up to challenge you, something tempted me to stay and fight. To my surprise, they stun lock in seconds. But what was that dark liquid that they threw at me? Surely that's nothing to worry about. Ah, what the heck is this? A creepy scarecrow's talking to me. Above the 3 Sanctuary, he speaks of despair, claiming I will struggle and fall before being consumed. Scary stuff that I don't have time to worry about right now. Wrapped Link for better dodging is just behind this hidden wall, and of course Queen of Smiles rears her ugly head. Huh, I feel like I've seen this beast before. Perhaps in another life. One thing I forgot to mention is we have 4 stained pages. At the moment, these can only be purchased from the Nomad Merchant. He sells them for 500 gold, and their description reads, a page from an unholy tome, stained in shifting darkness. Apply it to your weapon to add arcane damage to your attacks. Crush its brittle pages in a holy place to expunge its sacred light. Not sure what that last part is all about at the moment, but dark damage sounds like a good thing to hang on to. As the Queen just found out, this stuff is quite powerful indeed. Underneath her, we can grab the attack charm, which increases our damage, and right after we collect the bright coral ring for some extra stamina. Remember, if you can attack, the enemy can't. Ah yes, the Mad Alchemist, a fellow wielder of dark magics. As the purple blades connect, I feel a calm growing inside me. Not a fiery rage of anger, more of an apathy, as if something is missing. All of this power, and used for what? Slaying random alchemists? No, this just doesn't seem right. With Class 3 Reapers acquired, maybe leaning more into prayers could get me back onto the right path. Maybe. The haymaker can now be upgraded to level 3 at a blacksmith using locks of hair in a soldier's poem. Then after restocking on stain pages, I take on the Kraken Cyclops. My power is slowly increasing, my speed unrivaled, and my combo of spin attacks places fear into the hearts of any around me. We topple this giant like we topple an ant. One step from our boot and it's time to move on. That's one big boot, by the way. Specially ordered, I would imagine. Without any major weight issues going on at the moment, we swap out for the plated band. Plus 3 strength will do nicely. Guess who managed to get the full raptor set from these wild bowmen? Well, not exactly full, considering I have no pants on, but a helmet and cloak should at least be enough to get me out into public, one would think. If there's anything I hate in this world, it's a pretender. And the false jester is no true jester at all. His dark arena blends in a little too well with my new attire. Perhaps it wasn't the right outfit for me after all. Still looks pretty cool at least, as I fly through the air, falling flat on my back. Good times, guys. Good times. With a vertigo brand given from the real jester, we head back up to the surface. Back among the goddesses family once again, I place several points into wisdom. Yes, this definitely seems like the right path to take. It's all coming back to me. 3 soldiers' poems are easily acquired in the Castle of Storms. A nice weapon upgrade we can use later on, as right now we have a dragon to face. Or I guess he's a worm by name? But what exactly is the difference? Let's see here. This says a dragon has 4 legs and a separate pair of wings. A worm has no legs and no wings, kind of like a massive snake. Well, that doesn't seem to have cleared anything up, since this guy has legs, wings, and is still a worm. It also says authors invent their own distinctions. So apparently, you can just make up whatever you want. Fair enough. I'll be honest, this conversation was more interesting than anything happening on screen. Curse you, you flying behemoth! Just get down here! Man, this scaly fellow sure has his off days, doesn't he? Wall Jump brand is now mine to reach, and with the Nomad having moved homes, we can heavily restock on these pages. Oh hey, it's the scarecrow thing again. Have anything nice to say this time? Wasn't exactly anything nice, but wasn't really all that creepy either. So, progress? Finally, we reach the most important boss of the run, Untouched Inquisitor. Conveniently, he's very weak to arcane damage. Very convenient indeed, as this twisted soul is going down in no time. Funny how sometimes bosses who could easily get out of your range decide it's a good idea to not do that. And when the Scythe spin is good, the Scythe spin is really good. A true justice has been done to this weapon type, and that I can appreciate. With his defeat, we now collect a Lord's Orders and the Untouched Inquisitor's Ashes. Leveling up the Haymaker to rank 5, we then convert it into a rank 4 Purifier. This boss's ashes, an Amber Idol, which is right here in this sanctuary, and 10,000 salt, granting a massive scythe that deals both slash damage through strength and holy damage through wisdom. The Goddess of Light would surely be proud, and yet unhappy at the same time. It would seem those dark mages from earlier dropped enough drowned sensors for me to bump up to level 5 as well. Buff it up with some dark, and this looks so cool. What the heck, this is actually crazy looking. The third lamb may be a monster by his own right, but he's not as much a monster as me. This is power. This is darkness and light combined. This is what I call a Reaper. So yeah, the combo attack on this is fast enough for staggers to happen just when you need them. The combined might of physical, light, and dark damage all hitting at the same time works wonders. You will still run into the problem of combos taking a tad too long. If the stagger doesn't manage to happen, you get counterattacked. Healing items are as important as ever, and after taking some lightning on the chin, we can vanquish this fiend. Hardlight brand, you are now mine to control. Once inside the Zigurrate, it's important to pick up this stagger charm. If there's anything I've learned about this game, it's that this is usually the best charm. Considering our one problem is when enemies hit during our combo, and stagger stops that. Yeah, this is something we need for sure. I also find it funny that the most amazing counter to Drag King is this charm. Most weapons can just completely stop his attacks quickly. With the Reaper, a single combo attack is needed. Let's just say this turned a scary undead cretin into a harmless pile of bones. Weapons with innate holy damage on them are all quite good. This one is starting to seem like one of the best. Sorry, old man, I came for the dart brand, and I'm gonna leave with the dart brand. With all our salt going into wisdom and stamina from now on, it's a long fall down towards the Bloodless Prince. More of the same, really. You do need to carefully watch your stamina, as too many attacks in a row leaves nothing to dodge with. I find that this is a common issue with more aggressive weapon types. The high damage and combos lull you in, and since spam gets even better with the stagger charm, you get all excited to keep pressing attack, only to stand there hopeless as a giant wall clobbers you. Thankfully, I've learned a thing or two. Mostly that 30 is like the minimum willpower I'm okay with. More leeway, more more attacks and less dodges missed. Had a few really close rolls into his feet and almost a perfect fight. Then yet again we meet this ragged scarecrow. He claims to have taken everything from everyone. Kingdoms, princes, lords, they're all his. Does that mean it thinks I'm next? As per usual, it's ghost busting time. Good old coveted duo are a unique bunch. The two ghosts dish out quite a bit of damage, and the axe is no quick object to take out. I find that in doing more unique runs, this is a spot to be worried about. Often the fight can take minutes to complete. Luckily, we aren't doing nothing. It's not exactly as good as I've seen before, but at least the spin cuts down a good chunk at a time. A couple heavy executions to finish him off, and this world is ghost-free once again. Down in the abyss, far from my noble creed, I can't help but hear a whisper in the darkness, calling my name, tempting me to fall even further. Sounds like blasphemy, but it couldn't hurt to have a look, could it? Back near the 3 sanctuary, I do the unspeakable. Desecrating a sanctuary is the highest of sins. Proclaiming war on a group who has helped you before doesn't exactly make you the good guy. As valiant warriors appear to defend their honor, I defeat them. 1 by 1, 2 by 2. Doesn't matter how many there are, I cut them down. And still I feel nothing. Strange. Still seems I'm missing something. But what could that be? Now attempting a similar sin against the stone roots, I am promptly cut down, only to awake on the beach where this journey first started, but this time with a bloody writ in hand. The item seems to be leading me somewhere, back down into the deep dark, following the faint trails of tears. I venture further and further until I see a strange figure off in the distance. It seems the writ wanted to come home, here where the light of Devara can never reach. The Betrayer. His followers tempt me one last time. Should I continue in the footsteps of light, or fall by the wayside into something no man can return from? In my heart, I know this is wrong, but for some reason saying yes feels so right. Welcome, death, to the darkness down below. Welcome to the creed of betrayers. Welcome to the blackest vault. As a betrayer, my work is much different than most. Instead of felling those dangerous monsters roaming the land, my goal is different. I am to hunt down sanctuaries, desecrating them with my unique talents, taking them over and claiming their expunged hearts. So that's exactly what I do. 1 by 1, the sanctuaries in which I claimed for the goddess are defeated. 1 by 1, they are filled with death, executions, and emptiness. 1 by 1, they become more like me. Who are these protectors anyway? These so-called gods who would decide my fate. Now is the time of death, and it shall be so forever. All those mighty warriors, and yet not a single hero among them. Sanctuaries fell across the land until none were left. Only one dark creed stood remaining, and thus granting untold power. All of those expunged hearts can be crafted by a creed leader for flasks of defilement, the same dark liquid by which I was infected so long ago. When thrown, this stuff coats your target in darkness, reducing their defenses to 0. Death could not possibly deal any more damage to those who have wronged him. May the few gods who are left cower in fear. Before leaving on my final crusade, I needed a few things. Drowned censers can be bought from the merchants of this creed, and a tome can be found somewhat carelessly back in the dark pit. With those acquired, we now have a max upgraded Scythe or Reaper. And since our creed leader is fully satisfied with our work, we can purchase the Grim armor set. Class 3 light armor isn't quite in our wheelhouse just yet, but we'll get there soon enough. And off we go to reap more souls. Tree of Men was no more intimidating than he usually is, albeit he was definitely as tedious as he tends to be. Scythes don't connect with his bulbous head very well, especially not if you jump all the way down. Readjust the spacing though, and congrats on being the #1 lumberjack from Metal Forests. In the face of death, Disemboweled Husk saw his and managed to stare back. That fire rain is a tricky one, tell you what. Flasks of Defilement work very well with Reapers. They greatly boost the damage you deal for a short time, so the circle of slashes we're able to complete maximizes DPS possible within this time frame. Carefully roll behind the gunshots and it's GG to the old pirate skeleton. And now the moment we've all been waiting for. Class 3 light armor has now been acquired, granting death an appropriate attire. The headdress didn't really look as good as I wanted it to, but the sadist's veil, now that is a deadly look if I ever saw one. Of course, 5 minutes later, I was back to the Ghastly Gourd for a more Headless Horseman type vibe. For those who don't know, Stench was actually given a sizable HP increase in Enhanced Edition. It had something to do with him being too easy to take down before, and he's dead. I swear the health increase is usually noticeable, you gotta trust me. Ronan and his Golden Wine Club are apparently not that big a fan of death. as he for once decided to fight back. Not gonna lie, this caught me off guard a few times. When the guy literally does nothing, you tend to underestimate him. But in the end, a quitter is a quitter, and Ronan just doesn't have enough fight left in him to cut me down. Which actually brings up a good point. So every creed's healing item behaves a bit differently. The Betrayer's healing is okay at best. You get decent health regeneration for a few seconds. Faster than say red grass, but doesn't last as long as that either. I bring this up because grabbing a few more heals from the creed leader isn't a half bad idea. Oh yeah, and Mal's dead by the way. Enhanced Edition took her arcane resist from 0 to a lot higher than that. Definitely made things tricky at times. Death comes to all in the end though, so I wasn't worried. Also, yes, technically flasks do a little bit of damage. Each time you throw one, the target takes I think small ticks that add up to 25 total damage, meaning the scythe only part is illegitimate due to a technicality. At the same time, this was the one run where these were thematic enough to use, and they aren't being used to purely deal damage either. So if you're a real stickler about it, sorry. Sometimes death can be a tad disappointing. Karstraw only managed to hit me once when I got greedy. Spin to win seems like a major weak point of his. While I appreciate his annihilation of mages, best to leave that kind of work to an expert. Which now leaves the final major threats left to be cut down. Miss Witch got lucky one time. One single time, she magic machine gunned me to death. Granted, it does sound like a really cool way to go out. Doesn't really feel all that awesome though. Heavy attacks are the only consistent form of damage. Kinda slow and clunky, but you do get more reach out of them. Oh wait, no, she came down here into my range. Again, with you flying bosses, why can't you figure out that flying is your best move? Unskinned are the usual duo boss. My damage is amazing. Their damage also pretty good. You need a lot of patience. I don't have a lot of patience. I think the picture is pretty clear here. It was fun to get really chunky damage on the mage. I did have to whiff time after time in order to get it, although all's well that ends well. And right there before the Crypt of Dead Gods, we find the Scarecrow once again. He claims my escape is impossible. What he doesn't know is that I never intended to escape at all. Death has no need to leave this island. Death shall consume all. And consume I do. The Forgotten King and his merry band kneel before my mighty blade. First up was the king, then goes the mage, and finally the knight. I said finally the knight. Come on man, you're ruining my script here, get your act together. So somehow the actual dragon in this game is not a dragon. By definition, he doesn't fit, unless those tentacles count as legs, but last time I checked, that wasn't the case. Honestly, I think the worm looks more like a dragon, and the dragon looks more like a worm. Are we sure something didn't get mixed up here? Seems unclear to me. Spin to win, spin to win, and spin to win. Life is pretty simple like this, and very effective too. Sitting at level 76, we have acquired 13 strength, 18 endurance, 28 willpower, and 32 wisdom. Points are stretched pretty thin on this one, but we got most of what we needed. And so the ultimate battle awaits. Death versus the Nameless God, a true wielder of the dark versus the dark itself. He may be nearly immune to my damage, but my flasks take care of that for me. His persistent blade cut me down time and time again, yet still I stood back up and fought. His magic barreled towards me with fascinating speed, yet still I bounced back fearless. Because if there's one thing you can count on, it's the monster under your bed. It's the whispering voices you hear when you're alone. If there's one thing that will find your tiniest insecurity and exploit it, it's me, Death. And I cannot be stopped. With my journey at an end, the emptiness returns. No gods to slay, no mindless worshippers to forsake, no one dares give my existence meaning. That leaves me with only one option. We discard the well in which all those others jump. We head further down to meet the Scarecrow once again. This time, it looks a bit different. He doesn't even have anything to say. I take the helm, wearing it as my own. This is the end, this is the beginning. Death is everything. All-knowing and never-ending. The betrayers have won, and the world has fallen to my control. I am the Nameless God. And there you have Sodden Sanctuary beaten using only a scythe. Slash with flasks as well. The entire dark theme makes for a really fun and unique playthrough, getting to see the entire world in a different light as you battle those who would see you as friends. Just so happens this Scarecrow questline was the last Steam achievement I needed as well, letting me finally 100% this game. Reapers are very powerful. They have an excellent combo attack that is easy to chain. Tends to get you hit if not timed correctly, but that's most things now, isn't it? Maybe now it's time for you to forsake the Goddess of Light. Become a betrayer and rule the world as you see fit. As we learn here today, it can be done. Thanks for watching, everyone. and I'll catch you next time.